Hello, hi, how are you today, football friends? Cab1892 here once again. Today we're getting close and personal with 88 centre back and left back's clothing, Paolo Maldini. This is the Italian's baby version, but as we know with many icons, the baby version isn't always the weakest, and I'm keen to see how this version, which looks very different to his other cards, plays in game. Before we slide into the review, just the usual quick ask to please take the 2 seconds to smash that like button and hit subscribe, only if you enjoy the video of course. But remember, it doesn't cost you anything, yet your support will continue to allow me to produce more content for all you FIFA fans. Alright, let's get to it. Starting with his player bio, you'll see Paolo is tall without being massive at 6'1", and that could give him a really nice balance of agility, pace and strength in gameplay. He has an ideal body type in high and average plus, which is not aligned to his other cards, and he's in great company with the likes of Vieira, Desai and Zidane Moments all sharing his perfect frame. His high defensive work rate is perfect of course, and medium attacking work rate due to his natural left back position can easily be restricted with instructions if required. Right footed and the 4-star weak foot should give reliability in passing out from the back. 2-star skills is nothing to worry about if you're using him in defensive areas. He can ball roll and that's all your centre back should really ever need. Maldini's attribute screen looks noticeably strong in the key areas of defending and pace. His agility balance combo might be a cause for concern, particularly with an average strength rating for a defender, so we'll see how well he moves, jockeys and keeps his feet during contact when we get onto the pitch. Solidity should exist in his passing, reactions and stamina if they hold true to form. Across the board, the Italian's tackling, interceptions and composure looks very high and should be the base for a very solid defensive output. Onto player traits, and you'll see that he only has a CPU trait of dives into tackles and nothing else. We'll keep a lookout for any impact that might have in situations where you leave his defensive AI to do the work itself, such as when shielding your centre backs by controlling your CDMs in front. Alright though, that's enough of the guesswork, into gameplay we go. Usual first stop, pace. Paolo is a really strong and willing runner. He covers ground with ease and there's no attacker he can't catch over distance. He bursts out reasonably well over short spaces, changes direction smoothly and with ease, and really closes down the opposition without trouble over longer runs, capable of going yard for yard with the quicker attackers that might cause problems to average speed defenders. Overall, I'd say 90 is more representative as he definitely impressed and it's not an area of concern, whether playing a deep or high defensive line. Shooting next, and let's be honest, this won't be the primary reason you buy this type of defender, and certainly shouldn't be a reason to invest in Maldini. A face stat of 54 doesn't really fill you with expectation, and whether it's from distance or close range, his shooting is basic at best. His shot power is okay, and he can ram home a simple loose ball from 6 yards, but that's about it. His defensive presence isn't felt in the opposition box. He'll pop up for the odd header when it comes his way. Overall, no reason to argue with EA for once. 54 rating is absolutely fine here. Poor passing on defenders really restricts your ability to hold onto the ball and also leaves you susceptible to being pressed in dangerous areas. Maldini isn't anything wild, and 36 curve means you have to keep the angles basic. But he's reliable and solid in moving the ball from side to side and playing his part in the build-up, while the 4-star weak foot keeps his options open. But again, he won't wow in this area, and all the more reason why he won't be your flying wingback and is more suited to stay-back roles. Overall, for the job you need him to do, 75 is fair, but only if you're playing him as a stay-back type defender, otherwise you'll be disappointed. Maldini's dribbling stats also look potentially problematic, but once again he comes through solidly, albeit not with flying colours. He moves really nicely, both on and off the ball, that high and average body type proving an absolute treat in defensive movements in particular. His on-the-ball control is much better than his low dribbling stats suggest for sure, and his reactions feel very quick beyond his 84 rating. Meanwhile, he's very composed in defensive situations, and while carrying the ball itself. Overall, I experience a strong performance here, and 80 would not be overhyping him at all. This is where I'd hoped to really feel Maldini's presence in my side, and he did not disappoint. He is the glue that holds the defence together, leading by example and never making mistakes. He tackles cleanly and aggressively on foot, and meanwhile he has such a long reach to his slides that he regularly gets you out of trouble. He has that long reach akin to a Vieira or Blanc, but in a much more controlled and balanced way. His positioning is always on point. I played him in centre back and he feels right at home there, never out of place, never leaving himself needing to recover. He blocks brilliantly, and again that body type always seems to put itself in the way. I was expecting big things from a 90 rating, and I was still impressed. 92 allowing for the extra level of confidence I believe Paolo shows in this area. Physical is last up, and this was the category I was most worried about, given a sub 80 rating in strength and aggression. Although some issues evidence themselves from time to time, overall I should have had no concerns, as again Maldini's body type seems to allow him to bypass his base stats. He easily deals with the likes of CR7 and Mbappe and is solid in the challenge. His jumping is fine and means he's competitive in the air when you put it on top of his decent height, and his stamina means he's great for 90, although a bit susceptible towards 120. Overall though, I was very impressed by his performance in this area, and 86 paints a truer picture of his capabilities. So let's take a look at the summary of Italian base icon Paolo Maldini. I've had him in my team now for some time, notching hundreds of games because quite simply, he's a game changer. He brings a confidence to your defending that you won't find in many other players, and you feel he brings your whole back four, or 3 or 5 if you're that way inclined, to a new level. I think this version is often overlooked as he's a left back, but with a better body type than his bigger brothers, the 92 and 94 centre back cards, and substantially more pace and stamina, I actually think he's incredibly undervalued still within the community, and if you can switch him in game with a fullback type, for example your Walkers and Alabas, you're winning on both fronts in full chem without sacrifice. For the pros, we have to start with Maldini's tackling, which is incredibly consistent and powerful. If there's an opportunity to win the ball, you can bet Maldini's foot will be taking it away cleanly. His 4-star weak foot is a big part in allowing him to make those tackles, but also his reach, and both his standing and sliding tackles have amazing range in winning the ball from opponents. His defensive awareness is on point, and with a high defensive work rate you'll rarely find him sleeping. Meanwhile, his pace over both short and long distances is exceptional and allows you to recover if you do make an error in your work. The cons list is very narrow, but has to start with his passing range. It's solid, but you have to keep his work simple, and if you get overconfident or ambitious, you can get burnt. Thankfully there's no one better to recover from such an error though. Paolo's position change can also arguably be a con, in that you need a centre back who can play fullback in order to let you get him on the full 10 chem, and you need it in my opinion, particularly towards the later stages of the game. Finally, and again it's not an issue if playing him centre back, his attacking play is just not there. If you want to use him in his natural left back position, or as a centre back who can bring the ball out, say as part of a 3CB setup, he won't thrive as he doesn't have the skill set to excel in such positions, but it's a minor flaw, if even relevant to the role in most teams. Chem styles are very straightforward for me here, and you are scrambling to cover the only small chink in his armour, which is that lack of true top end pace, which really only becomes an issue when he gets tired towards the end of games, and a top speed super sub is running in behind. Shadow and the plus 10 it brings to pace gives Maldini an extra layer of protection the nearer games get to the 90 mark, or even more evidently as they approach the 120 minutes in foot champs. In terms of position, it's simple for me here too. He's a centre back all day long, and whilst he could cover fullback positions from a defensive perspective, I feel he's wasted out wide, as he's the central force that keeps your goal safe and the rest of your defenders in check. Overall then, I'd give Maldini a 92 rating, as I believe he performs incredibly well in game compared to his stats on paper. He provides solidity and confidence that come from 1 million plus centre backs, but for a fraction of the cost, and I honestly cannot understand why he doesn't feature in more teams during Weekend League. For value, I actually think that at 350k, this card is a bargain, and even if you only play him on 7 chem, he's an amazing option to bring your backline to the next level. He has never let me down and still has a presence during Team of the Season, so for what he brings to your squad, a value rating of 92 is well deserved. So that concludes today's icon review. Before you go, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews and content, as I can't do this without your support, which has been incredible to date, and I'm so thankful for all of your feedback and to everyone that's watched any of my videos. Look forward to seeing you all in the next review.